There's a new action movie in cinemas. It's called Blood Brothers Bara Naga. It's directed by Syafiq Yusof and Abhilash Chandra. And it's actually pretty good. I have to say, I enjoyed this one a lot more than Police Evo 3, than Sheriff, definitely more than The Experts. But this one kind of stands out for multiple reasons, and both Bahir and I were pleasantly surprised. This is progress in the right direction. It is a good time in the cinema, let me tell you.
I really like this. I like this a lot more than I did the last two Jason Statham films.
Hell yes!
I'm sorry, but like A Working Man and Beekeeper, I preferred this. Like, given the options of those three films, I'd pick this one to watch again.
Yeah.
And that is saying a lot from a local film.
It's a mob, underworld, mafia story, and the internal politics that come with something like that. But the plot for this movie feels like something you may have seen before. It feels somewhat predictable. It plays according to familiar beats. That's not necessarily a bad thing when it's executed in such a good way. And when I say good way, I mean the production value on this feels tremendous. The action sequences and set pieces are incredibly well shot. It feels like the actors actually put in the work. There are a lot of times when you're watching these scope productions and it feels like the actors are just phoning it in. In this one, it feels like the punches land. It feels like the choreography was planned. It feels like the camera is constantly in motion. There are lots of clever things. I didn't take note of who the DOP was, but he was excellent. Also, this thing looks good. Like, the lighting is amazing. Some of the shots are beautiful. It is just a very well-made movie. It is the kind of quality, it is the minimum level we should expect in 2025. And yet, it is so surprising when we get something like this.
It really shouldn't, right? Because we're spending 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million ringgit to make a film like this, or to make films, and the bare minimum really shouldn't be what we expect anymore or what we're hoping for. This movie goes past the bare minimum, and I really, really like that. At one point in the third act, when our villain is walking up to go and kill someone, he takes off his shirt, and then you see that his back's got a tattoo on it. And my first reaction, because I know I'm watching a Malay film, was that, stupid bad lighting. I can't even see the tattoo. What is the point? But then he walks through a shaft of light and then it becomes clear. And I just went, clever boys, you know? Like, the fact that they thought it through, that this isn't just going to be a massive reveal of his tattoo. It's going to be him taking off his shirt, making the audience go, oh, what is that? And then suddenly seeing it through the flash of light. I thought that was really sort of creative lighting, creative camera work, and that isn't something we see a lot of.
The lighting in this movie is tremendous. But even the camera work, I think I really appreciate the camera work in this film. The opening sequence, which involves a shootout in the middle of the road, is beautifully choreographed.
Really well done.
It is really well done. Also, it does something which a lot of Malay action movies don't do. We actually get to see one-shot kills and headshots. A lot of the time, it ends up being two groups of people standing across from each other, shooting guns like crazy, and no one is really getting hit.
Yeah.
And it creates a lot of noise and smoke, but that's about it. This one feels true to the characters on screen because they're supposed to be this elite group of bodyguards. Surely they know how to take a shot. Surely they know how to take people out. And it's apparent from the get-go. Also, it's showing us that. It's not just telling us throughout the movie, hey, we're really good, you know, we're the best of the best. I mean, this one, from the first minute, you get the idea that these people are good at what they do. Yet again, it shouldn't be a surprise. But it's so rare that this happens in local movies that we're very excited when it does.
Yeah, like that opening gunfight thing was really, I thought it was cleverly executed because this wasn't self-wank, right? This isn't just like, oh, let's show these guys be cool and be in an extended gunfight and able to kill everybody. No, it shows you immediately that these are not the guys who will shoot first. They are responding because they are by the law bodyguards. These guys are very good at their job. So they take down the attackers very quickly and very efficiently. So right on there, you get immediately that this isn't just a movie to show off gunfire. You know what I mean? Like, you've seen some of those films where the movie opens and it's a look at how cool we are, the production people, when we do this massive gunfight. There's explosions, there's smoke. I also really appreciated that there were civilians on that road during that gunfight. Did you notice that? Like, it wasn't just two groups of randos shooting at each other. There were civilians around, which, again, small thing. But just the fact that it was put in there is what I really appreciated.
The character work was also very good. So you have this elite security force, right? And they're not just an elite security force. They're a tight-knit family. They're a group of bodyguards that provide services to everyone from powerful politicians to crime bosses. But at the same time, it's structured like a mob family, and they're all brothers, thus blood brothers. But the relationship that they craft very quickly in the movie actually works. And you feel that brotherhood even without the flashback. There is a flashback showcasing our two leads when they were children and how they became close and all of that stuff. But even without that, I felt that the intro to the movie kind of sets up this brotherhood very efficiently. The grown-up versions, played by Shahnaz Ahmad and Syafiq Kyle, are incredibly charming. They work. Their relationship is believable. And Amelia Henderson, who plays the daughter of the mob boss, played by Wan Hanafisu, who is, needless to say, always good lah. But Amelia Henderson is so great in this. A lot of the time in movies like this, especially in scope productions, the female characters tend to be severely underwritten because they serve as motivation for the male characters. Either they're killed or they're raped or something bad happens, or they're kind of whiny and getting in the way of the male characters who are trying to do their thing, etc., etc. And I feel like Amelia Henderson kind of stands out from that. Her character Sheila has personality, has issues. Her role in this feels like it's more than just motivation for guys to do stuff. And I appreciated that. And I thought she was incredibly natural in pulling this off. It wasn't this overly melodramatic, theatrical, abang nonsense, right? Which we get so much of.
And she wasn't the damsel in distress.
No, she wasn't.
Which I also really appreciated.
There's a lot going on in this movie, and there's a very interesting, I guess, mystery at the center of it, which should keep you guessing as to who the actual bad guy is. And so all of that is constructed really, really well, which yet again is a real credit to the writers. I think Abhilash Chandra was one of the writers of this as well. And so it's a real credit to the writers because they've managed to put this all together. And I was actively looking while I was watching this for holes. But the whole 2-hour runtime felt very tight to me.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like all of these character interactions really worked. The stuff between the brothers, the kind of pathos between who is real family and found family, and who can you really trust, and who's the main character and the sidekick, and all of this stuff. It really, really worked.
There was enough here that at no point was I left to chew on plot holes or to chew on things that were annoying. In fact, I didn't think there were anything that was annoying me, which is quite surprising. I guess the one nitpick I would have is that I didn't like the voiceover thing, Syafiq Kyle's voiceover thing throughout the film. I felt the
voiceover was unnecessary. I understand why they put it in, but I feel like the movie was actually strong enough to work without a voiceover.
Yeah, but also I feel like it's one of those things of maybe trust your audience a little better.
Yeah.
Just let them work for it a little bit more.
I don't have anything against voiceovers. I think voiceovers actually add a very cool element to a story. And if you look at American productions, if you look at something like Bad Monkey, or even the new Your Friends and Neighbors, which is dropping soon on Apple TV Plus, I think today or tomorrow, it also utilizes a voiceover. But what I like about those voiceovers are that they aren't explaining to you what you're seeing on screen. And I think that's the mistake that happens with a lot of voiceovers. So if you look at the original cut of Blade Runner, the studio felt that the audience was not going to get it. So it was Harrison Ford kind of explaining what was going on and what the world is, etc., etc. And in this one as well, there are moments when Syafiq Kyle is just narrating, which I think was unnecessary because the movie itself stands alone very well. Plus, you are familiar with these stories and you are familiar with these characters. You may have seen them before. So it's not something sci-fi or new or completely wild and out there. And I think the audience would get it. But you're right. I think for me, the voiceovers are necessary. This was the first time in a Malay movie that the comic relief wasn't grating or annoying. Like, it was the most toned down I have ever seen it in a Malay movie. And I know you would like to see it disappear altogether.
Yes, completely.
I agree with you. I feel a lot of the time it's unnecessary because it kind of either undermines the tone of the film or pulls you out of the movie. I also understand why they need to do it because they feel like this is what the audience wants. And unfortunately, a lot of the audience does want it.
So here's the thing. I know what you're saying, and yet I disagree because I know what you're saying. I know there will be producers out there who are like, oh, wait, we have to add some comedy bits for the women. No, you don't. You really, really don't. If your story is good, you don't need comedy bits, especially when the comedy bits are not character driven, or rather they're not driven by your lead characters, right? So here's an example. The Bad Boys series of films are action-packed, completely well-written, and are funny.
Yeah.
My issue with the Malaysian films that try that is the fact that they don't have the guts or balls to make their lead actors funny. Okay, maybe the Police Evo, but even that, they've sort of retooled every film. But like, the comedy in Bad Boys comes from the fact that Will Smith and Martin Lawrence are funny actors playing amusingly dry and witty characters, right? Here, the lead characters are not the ones that are funny. It is not Gaz or Arif that is being funny. It is Arif's brother and Arif's brother's friend who comes in and does the clowny, jokey things. And I think that's where I'm annoyed because it is out of place for the rest of the film. Suddenly, there are all these bits and skits about Arif's brother's friend who is suddenly now this special tech DIY guy, and he is kooky looking and he's just funny, haha. And I thought that was annoying because the comedy comes from cute bits as opposed to funny bits.
Yes, it's not character driven comedy, but it feels like moments inserted by the suits.
Yeah.
Because that is what Malaysian audiences flock to.
Yeah.
Apart from those two things, I think I have very few nitpicks with this movie. I think it is very tightly constructed. I think it is beautifully produced. It looks expensive. The action sequences are some of the best I've seen on screen. There were no massive car chases in this one. Actually, there were no car chases at all, which I think is good because if you're going to speed up the car chase, it actually makes it look pretty bad. And I think everything was concentrated on very physical action. And all of that worked incredibly well. The other nitpick that I have is with a big showdown sequence between Gaz and Arif, where Arif doesn't actually make his point, where Syafiq Kyle's character doesn't actually say what's going on, but it ends up being this very emotional conversation between two men going, how did you believe I did that? Or, fine, just kill me, why don't you? When he could have said, listen, I have proof. Stop beating up on me.
And the worst part is he actually has proof. It's not like, oh, I know that there is proof existing somewhere in this world. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, stop beating me up because we can go to that other place and find that other guy and then I will show you the proof. No, the proof is here in this room right now. maybe stop beating me up and I'll show it to you.
That is such an old-fashioned trope, right?
Yeah.
It's always used to kind of extend the tension and extend the action, which feels unnecessary because even Hollywood has kind of moved past it. Because the last thing they want is audiences sitting there in the cinema screaming, just say it already.
Just say it. Say it.
Even rom-coms have moved past it, where your protagonists kind of spell out everything you're thinking because they know if you're thinking it, then they've lost you if they don't actually say it.
Yeah.
Those were definitely my biggest nitpicks in the movie. But honestly speaking, they're very small nitpicks because on the whole, the experience was fantastic.
Just to go back to that nitpick of ours where Arif doesn't tell Gaz about the thing that he has, I don't find it too much of a problem because immediately that thing gets shown.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I don't think it's great writing, but at least you're addressing the problem, right? You're revealing the thing that will stop you from getting killed. However, I wish the characters who are in that fight will do it.
It happened a lot sooner than in most places, but it just wasn't soon enough. Because there was a level of frustration that was building up within me with regards to screaming at the screen going, say it.
Yeah.
Stop hitting me for 10 seconds. I understand you're emotional right now.
But that's the thing. As Gaz is beating up Arif, it's not like Arif doesn't get a chance to say anything. It's not like Gaz is holding Arif's head underwater.
It's not like he's given him a throat punch.
Yeah, Arif keeps talking. Arif is talking while being punched. He's saying things like, how do you think I would betray you? Who do you think I am? Don't you know I love you? I'm paraphrasing, but you know, and at one point he literally just says, just do it. Just kill me. If you don't trust me, just kill me. I'm like, you've said so many words when all you needed to say was, I have proof. Let me show you.
I know. Halfway through it, I was like, wow, this is like having a fight with my wife.
She doesn't listen to this podcast, does she?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay, cool. My wife doesn't, so it's fine. I can say these things. But no, yeah. And I think that writing makes it weird because I'm now thinking about the writing. I'm now thinking about what the writer is hoping to achieve by not having Arif say, I have proof, let me show you. I liked the way they revealed it. That looked really well done. But as characters, as a story, as a script, I found it annoying that the character didn't say what he had.
On the whole, this movie is really, really good. It is definitely worth your time. It is a step in the right direction. This is how Malaysian action movies should be made. It is a new benchmark, for sure. I think the work needs to be done with the actors, with the choreographers, with the stunt people, the set design, the cinematography. Everything here is top-notch. It looks absolutely fantastic. It is one of these rare moments in Malaysian cinema where you feel like you've got your money's worth. It is also a rare moment in Malaysian cinema where, for the most part, they're not talking down to the audience. I know we talked about the narration, the VO narration, and this little fight sequence, but everything else is so well constructed that it doesn't make you feel stupid. It feels like you are along for the ride with these guys. And I think that's really, really good. Even the comedy works. And I found myself relatively entertained by Jackie P.I. and his eccentricities. But if only because it plays an important part in the story with the relationship between Jackie, Arif, and Gaz.
I will say I liked that Jackie wasn't just the comedic excuse. He played an actual role in the story, and it's not just a tool to move the story along. He is an actual active participant in the story, right? And that I appreciated, and that I really liked.
Oh, actually, one more thing. So, my one question is, if LPF and gang have changed their policy on bad guys winning, because with the experts, the bad guys got away with it. And in this one as well, there is a line from the police saying, we will track down all those responsible. But the two main guys, who aren't good guys, mind you, they're still criminals, get away with it in many ways.
Are they criminals though?
They are totally criminals, dude. They're gunning down people left, right, and center.
No, but they're
Just because they're people you don't like, Bahir.
no. Hang on. I am unsure about whether or not these men are villains.
Hold on. They're not villains, but they're criminals.
I don't know if they're criminals.
Oh, they're totally criminals.
No, I think the rest of the organization are criminals. I think they are legal bodyguards allowed to have handguns.
Cannot lie like that. In the
No.
beginning of the film already, they brutally murder someone for organizing a hit. By right, you should send that guy to the police. So,
That's true.
for all intents and purposes, these people are criminals. And in the past, there was this whole thing with LPF, especially with local productions, where the bad guys cannot get away with it. And they would do stupid things like put title cards up at the end of the movie saying, the police finally tracked them down and caught them, and they're now serving their time in prison, and all that bullshit. But with the experts, with Blood Brothers, maybe they've kind of loosened their stance on that, which is very exciting. But it's something I would like to ask the directors. And I wanted to ask the directors of the experts as well, if that was the case, because I think that was the first time I saw it, because those guys were thieves.
Yep.
And in the old regime, there is no way the movie would have ended with the thieves living happily ever after.
With their ill-gotten gains.
With their ill-gotten gains, correct.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about that. But, that aside, go check out Blood Brothers, Bara Naga. It's now showing in Malaysian cinemas. It is worth your money. It is worth a watch. It is so good. I had a fun time at the cinema, and God knows that is a rare thing for Bahir and I to say about Malaysian movies.
I wouldn't mind a second movie.
Same. I wouldn't mind a sequel. I wouldn't even mind watching this again.
Yes, also true.
Let us know what you think once you've seen Blood Brothers. You know how to reach out. We're on Instagram on GogglerMY. You can also email us on podcast@goggler.my. Thank you so much for listening. This is the Goggler Podcast.